Wow, I'm off to a banging start right now. I've already misstarted the stream, and I've already started with my mic muted. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Turncoat format analysis. Chris Nirvana Tool is here on his A game, messing up the stream already. But anyway, we are here to talk about Turncoat. As the airing of this stream originally, it is the upcoming event in July 2021 for the online Warlord circuit. But if you're watching this just because some random day in the future someone else is playing Turncoat and you want to know all this, hopefully this can help you figure out what is going on with this format. So to start us off, I would like to thank everybody who's watching live, but also everyone who's watching this rebroadcasted, watching this on YouTube or watching this on Twitch VOD, either one, that's fine. Really appreciate all the support you guys give me, and that's why I keep doing these things. But to start off with this format, if you format analysis, if you have not seen any of my previous videos, you can check them out as well. They are all available on YouTube. If you want to look at, just the Saga format, Ancients format in general was the last one we did. That was a big one. Me talking for 3 hours straight about Ancients. But we've done every single one that we've been doing on a monthly basis with these online tournaments. So go check them out. I'm going to reference a lot of them too. So, especially the Ancients one, just because there's a lot of information here and because this Turncoat format is Ancient specific. So we'll get into the rules in a little bit. One thing I do want to say up front is, and I say this on all of them, I am human. I make mistakes. I'm pretty good at Warlord. I'm not perfect at Warlord. No one's perfect at Warlord. So this analysis is my opinion, especially for something like this format, which is the human mind cannot fully calculate all the possibilities with this format. So I need to be a supercomputer in order to do that, or I just need to have a lot of free time on my hands, and I mean weeks of free time, not hours or minutes. So I am going to make mistakes. I am going to say things you disagree with. That is awesome. If you guys haven't noticed yet, I love just bickering and bantering with you guys about what is the best Warlord, or insulting your favorite warlord and then having you yell at me. That's just fun. I don't take any of that personally. So tell me I'm an idiot. That's cool. I'm on board with it. I'll prove you wrong and beat you with a bad Warlord. I want to see you guys do good with bad Warlords too. That is something I absolutely love. There are some Warlords that I have rated as the worst on here, and then people have taken them to the top 8. And when that happens, I love it. Man, I really messed that one up, didn't I? And that's what I want to see you guys succeed like that too. It's really a lot of fun when all that happens. So anyway, with that, let's start going into the analysis. And the one thing I do want to mention, just as I check my notes, because my phone keeps closing, this format, because it is Ancients and it's Turncoat, what does Turncoat mean? So we're going to start with the rules. And if you guys go to, oh wow, look at this. You can see my test post and you can see Scape G saying first. What's up? How you doing, buddy? All right. So anyway, let's go to, if you haven't, any of these upcoming events or any past events or anything, I recommend going to sagaofthestorm.com. That is where I am currently reading all of these rules. They're also in the Discord if you guys haven't seen that. At the very end of this video, when I have the thank you for watching, there's the Discord link. If you're not a member of that, definitely join. But let's start going through what the rules are, because there are some special rules for this too. But specifically, here's when does it start? When's the entry? What's the entry? Yada, yada, yada. All that stuff. Basic game rules. So we use the most recent 4E rules, as everybody knows. So basically, the most recent printing of cards and the most recent printing of the rule book. It's the Ancients format, so the Ancients restricted, banned, and reserve list is in effect, in addition to some other stuff. But then there's also Turncoat, which we explain below. So basically, first, before we go into the bans, I think we need to define what they have here. What is Ancients and what is Turncoat? So we all know what Ancients is. I already kind of mentioned that. You can check that out yourself too. Check out my past video where we kind of go through some of that. But What is Turncoat? Turncoat is an alternate format where you choose a warlord to be a different faction than normal. And then they give us some real examples here. The TLDR version is take whatever warlord you want, change that faction. And then any of the faction-specific references on that card change. The example that they give here is Niobe, the 4E druid that for the Free Kingdoms. Well, if you're going to change her to a dwarf, she does stuff with, just with Free Kingdoms. But like the example they give here is like, okay, all your dwarves, instead of all your Free Kingdoms get +2 AC and repost +5, all your dwarves get +2 AC and repost +5. And she herself becomes a warlord. Her subclass druid still stays. Nymph, which is a random trait that never got used, is also there. That's fine. But then there's also sub-race traits. Each faction has their own sub-races, which you can see here. Deverinians have storm rates, dwarves have gargoyles, elves undead, freaks have lycanthropes, siege for Nothrog, monsters for mercenaries, and then thralls and demons for the chosen, which will be a little tricky. We'll get into that too. But any reference to that specific subrace or that faction also changes. So the example that he gives here on this website is Thek Rockbender. Normally, he would turn adjacent dwarf characters into gargoyles and then give gargoyles within 1 rank +3 attack and power attack +5. Well, if you turn him into an elf, now adjacent characters are undead, and undead get +3 attack and power attack. So there's a lot of crazy potential changing up a lot of these sub-races. The exception to the rule is chosen, because they technically have 2. Basically again, another TLDR version of this, any mention of either just turns into, like, they basically just pretend like there's 1. So if you're going to take a chosen and turn it into a Nothrog, it would just basically reference the one subrace. So siege here. So like, for example, looking at, who's this one that they gave? +1, blah, blah, blah. So this is, which world is it? Oh, Ningula. I couldn't recognize it at first. So Ningula, normally doing stuff with thralls and demons, or non-daemon, if you will. Once per turn before a siege you control is killed as part of an actions payment. Good luck pulling that one off. Target siege gains +1 HP until the end of turn. And then the other ability, once per turn, kill a siege, should be bolded. Target a non-siege Nothrog that has not gained any permanent bonuses, gains +2, 3 if the siege was level 3 or higher. Attack AC skill permanently. But then, it gets a little weirder once you turn those non-chosen warlords into chosen. They really just, they specifically go for demon. They don't go for thralls. So thralls really only focus on when you're, like, basically it's just really confusing. Just reread this. My recommendation is do not touch the chosen in general unless you absolutely know what you're doing and have a really good reason. Much like with ancients in general, the chosen didn't have much card ability. So taking a chosen warlord and moving it to another faction like that, you might be able to have some great success with. But other than that, like, I don't know. I would not recommend it. So I'm just checking some technical things here, guys. Sorry. Other special cases here. Kilkameth, basically, if you're not unfamiliar with Kilkameth, it's the one that you discard a card and put a force of bone into play. It's just clarifying that it keeps the same faction that Kilkameth is. And then the other one is Sakar, that we've seen here on the stream a few times in a few games. He is a Deverinian and a mercenary. For this one, sorry, he just gains whichever class you're changing twice. So you can make him a double Nothrog. You can make him a double elf. That way, in case you ever come up against Yeedraw, they cannot remove your faction trait. They can try. He needs Logan's Ring in order to do it. But because of the endless possibilities, because again, we need to note now that now we've defined what Turncoat is, that means with Ancient format and Turncoat, the card pool and the possibilities are 6 times what Ancients was. And I talked about Ancients for 3 hours, so think about how long it would take to fully digest and dissect that. I don't think you guys have the desire to watch that much. I toyed around with the idea of doing an analysis where I'd go through all 237 warlords, 1 minute each, and it would be about a 4-hour stream. And I could probably do that, but I don't think it would also be as good. It basically, you guys would be watching me slowly die for 4 hours. Some of you might like that, you sickos, but we're not going to go for that. We're going to try and make useful stuff. So I'm going to give an analysis a little bit on some funnier things, or like not some funnier things, but like basically I want to try and get you guys thinking in a certain way so that you can kind of come up what's the best mentality to kind of approach this format. Like, because again, with Ancients too, like a lot of the warlords, like even like the middle to low tier ones, like you can do competitive things with it. Like the format is very balanced in that. And you can usually, make a bad warlord work, honestly, except for a few, which, we'll talk about, of course, because that's what everyone tunes in to see, which ones I shit all over. Yeah, what's going on? Morning, bud. How you doing, Rolo? So let's talk about the bans. So because of the nature of this, I know when they were talking about making this format, Woodrow sent me a message and was kind of like, hey, is there anything broken that you can think of? And like at the time I was just like, my mind was like, I have no idea. And I kind of threw out some bad suggestions and he was like, yeah, you're not really thinking right. Like, I just want to ban stuff that's like broken. And it's like, I don't know. Like, I was like, again, my first instinct was, this is 6 times the size of Ancients. I ain't going to think of all the possibilities off the top of my head. So I appreciate the compliment that Woodrow had, but for them to kind of come up with this ban list based off of just some obvious ones that they basically were trying to remove first action wins, it's almost kind of like if this was like the actual Ancients format, what would they retroactively add to the reserve or ban list? So he kind of threw that together. Yo, what's going on, Mitch? How you doing? So let's talk about the bans here. So Alisara, the reason that she is banned is she can just search out for any one type of character. Normally, as a mercenary, she can usually... Thank you for the gifted subs, bud. Really appreciate it. All right, so Alisara can really just search out basically any character. I'm sure there's a specific kind of combo that he had in mind with that, but just in general, that can get really silly. So I'm not 100% sure. Who knows? Bakba Umbala. This is one that I think is just a little too overcautious. I think they were like the idea of any faction, any warlord being able to switch to get to rank 2 right away would be like too much. I mean, going free kingdoms with a lot of these warlords, you'll see, is just going to benefit most of them anyway. So I guess they wanted to kind of hit this, and I disagree with this one. I think Bakba Umbala would be perfectly fine with any faction. So this might just be a little bit overcautious, but it's fine. It's not. I don't think. No use crying over spilled Bakbo. Then number 3 we have Brel. Now Brel is the freak. No, not the freak. It's the Nothrog level 2 druid that you can sack to have. I think before a siege makes a range strike, it does an extra wound. I can actually pull this up. Hold up. We have browsers, people. What are we doing here? Come on. I gotta give you guys the good stuff, right? Yeah, Brel. After a Nothrog Siege character hits with a melee or range strike, kill Brel. So it's after hit. You don't even have to do it before the roll. So you guarantee you hit. It does an additional wound. So there's a lot of first action kaboomy that could be a little silly with that. So just on the side of caution, they got rid of that. Bronwyn Tanzik. This one, too, I'm sure there's some crazy combos there. Bronwyn has always been a combo-rific crazy warlord, so this might also just be cautious unless they had some kind of idea already in mind. Cochrane, let's go to him. Just because it's easier to show. Coco Ran. All right, Coco Ran. Yes, I know I'm saying the name wrong. Don't matter. Coco, what up? Before a character in your army casts a spell, kill Coco Ran. All ranged strikes and DC saves produced by the spell gain +2 for each character, including Coco Ran in this rank. So yeah, it's just, this is to avoid first action kaboomies. There's things like that. Like when we were preparing for Ancients, you saw some silliness with Cochran and Lakar out of a mental assault that Josh posted on Discord. So you guys can kind of dig through Discord to kind of look at that. But things like that. Or with Bronwyn Tanzik, which you can't do in this format. But yeah, so that is why he is hit. Haviland Tanzik. Ooh, the controversial elf that I listed in the top 5 elves for my Ancients analysis, and everyone told me I was stupid. Well, wow, look at this. It's now banned. What up? Haviland can just do crazy stuff. Just basically kill an elf, give +1 HP. The thing with Haviland was the fact that Haviland is an elf, while it does give it crazy synergies and a lot of benefits, the drawback to Haviland is that elves were very frail and holding ranks could be difficult. So it's easier to kind of break this. That's why it's killing an elf, while there's a lot of mechanics that work with that, is always a risk. An inherent risk that you just break your own ranks and then you get murdered. Some of those factions, when you move Haviland over there, you kind of remove that, that little flaw. You patch up that hole in the Death Star, and, we don't have as many Star Wars movies. We just have that first one, Empire wins, everyone goes home. Have a good day. So we definitely did want to do that one. Let's see. Ruash Shan. The fact that he is banned is hilarious. I am sure Woodrow has some kind of crazy reason for this guy. Exactly. Like who? What? Your non-thrall chosen have the ability order kill target thrall until the end of turn. This character gains +1 level and the target classes. So gaining the classes is definitely the reason here. It just opens up a lot of possibilities to do some very abusive combos. Anytime any Warlord kind of gains an extra class, like cards like Battle Ring, which make people fighters, that usually opens up the ability to have some kind of like Warp Blade combo, for example. So I'm assuming that there's some kind of craziness like that. What it is exactly, I don't know. Woodrow tends to say that there's a lot of undiscovered Ancients crazy combos that people just haven't found and aren't playing, and then that he's not going to dig up. That could just be him flexing and saying like, oh yeah, the boogeyman exists just to kind of keep us in check. Let me get my tinfoil hat as I talk about the grand conspiracy that is Woodrow controlling the Warlord community and getting us afraid of what's possible in Ancients. But I'm sure there's actually a reason here. But no one's going to miss Ruash. More people will miss Bakbao than Ruash. And then last one, which is one that is absolutely good, is Zianara. Let's take a look at that centaur there. Zianara. So this is the Free Kingdom centaur hero. React can't equip weapons. Oh, but he only equip weapons. Epic hero monster. Look at that. 4 strikes. There we go. React once per turn after Zianara moves into your front rank. Perform a melee strike. This is banned because of Nasserul hate, or High Priest Nasserul. Anyone who watched any of my Ancients games saw what I did with Nasserul and Samope, just Bull Rush or Suicidal Charge first action and doing a lot of strikes. So Zianara with Bull Rush or Zianara with Suicide. Zianara with Bull Rush is 5 strikes. Suicidal Charge is 6 strikes. And you're most likely starting a Brother Domini once you go Free Kingdom. So they're all, 6, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, whatever. So it's a whole bunch. Plus, if you get like Quick Strength or, Acts of Faith or anything like that. So this is a very wise ban. So this was an obvious low-hanging fruit, and kudos on them for jumping on and just stopping that silliness. So with that, those are the rules. Those are the examples. So now, the key here too now is how do you kind of pick the right Warlord for this, or like how do you kind of approach that, or like let's just kind of look generally as a whole here. So really the things that kind of jump out to me first when I kind of look at this format is just you have to know the factions, and just kind of the reason that you would take one Warlord and move into a certain one. There has to be a reason. And that reason either has to complement the faction theme. There might be a specific card that they abuse. But the 2 factions specifically, and one I've already touched on, we'll just say is Chosen. Chosen is in a very interesting position here because they can move to other factions and now have synergies with an ample card pool that they've been missing out. So that's one thing to consider if you're going to go Chosen. If you're The other one is mercenaries. So mercenaries traditionally have been built and designed in a certain way where they can only play mercenary characters. Every other warlord could play their own faction plus mercenaries. So when you move those mercenary warlords who have typically only been able to kind of run that, just run blue characters, that's it. That open, like there's a lot more they can do now because they can still run the same character pool that made them successful as mercenaries, plus open up the possibilities of other factions. So they don't lose anything by switching to the factions. And you'll see that. Some warlords, you don't want to change factions. You have to in this event. I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this one, but I'm 100% positive that you have to choose a different faction. It would really... I don't know if it's one of those, like, are you going to enforce the rules? But it's really against the spirit of the event if you're like, well, I'm just going to keep my same faction and just do that. So for now, let's just assume you can't do that. But, like, that's why you just kind of disqualify certain warlords because they're built around their faction. And moving to a different faction ain't going to really help. And it's not basically on subrace. It's basically built on abilities like, I'll get to that there. But for mercenaries, they get better, I think. Moving a merc to somewhere else is good. And then why you would move a non-merc to mercenaries, usually there's going to be very little incentive there. So in most cases, I don't think you want to move to merc unless the key thing there is you wouldn't move for any kind of faction theme because mercenaries are all over the place. You would move to mercenaries if there is one specific card that you have in mind. And then, you can kind of pull everything else together that kind of fits within that. Going with one card could, you have to be very careful about it. But, you can kind of look at, there's general goodness in mercenary characters, and like that's all you really need, or maybe you just need to start Brine Fiends. So you can kind of look at that. But the example I can see is like if you're running a wizard or a range striker, you might want Halo of Fire. Halo of Fire, which we can pull up right here, but everybody should know it is the mercenary Halo. So this one lets you spend react after you would inflict 1 wound with an action card, not a melee strike. Oh, with an action, not an action card, just an action. So range strike or spell, increase the number of wounds inflicted by 1. So it just adds more to it. So range strike is just a silver bullet. Like you can definitely go Trevor Maxson as a mercenary, and now you can have a 3-wound shot go kaboom. So there are things like that. That's generally speaking. So with that, I'm just going to check my notes real quick. So yeah, okay. We got it. The last point I do want to make before we go into each of these, there's the slides that I prepared where I'm going to talk about. I'm not going to go through each faction. I'm not going to go through each warlord. But I am going to kind of give, you'll see how I do it. But I just want to say that this event and this format is going to reward creative deck building. You can see in the Discord chat that has been going on, like Gracchus the Old has been going nuts, has a new idea every other day. Same thing with Dragonbait 86. Like you guys are just throwing out ideas, anything that kind of comes, oh my God, I could do that. That's going to be the fun of this format. And so just coming up with the creative ideas, no matter how silly they may seem, like that's the reward here. Don't worry about being super competitive. Doing cool stuff is really what this format should really be all about. Oh, of course you want to win doing cool stuff, but I just want to keep that in mind. Like if you're traditionally not a good deck builder, you might want to then just kind of stick to a more reliable option and just kind of go simple. But like there is a lot of creativity and a lot of, I guess freestyling is what we'll go with, that can come from this format. So just keep that in mind. All right, with that, let's get to some slides. So I'm going to hope that I have this set up correctly. So I am going to switch and hopefully things do not explode. Oh, look at that. We got there. Alrighty, guys. So going into the slides that I have here, starting off, I want to talk about who I think is top tier with this and what factions I would recommend changing them to. So the ones to beat, starting off, these are not in any particular order. So it's not left to right, best to worst, or best to fifth. Like it's not that. I'm definitely not saying High Priest Natural is the best, but We will start there, mainly because, as I mentioned, the ability here for High Priest Natural opens up so many possibilities, because instead of just having one faction where you have to go single class fighter level 3, there's a lot of there's 6 times the possibilities. So just on potential alone, I'm saying he's the one to beat, because I think that's where a lot of players are going to kind of gravitate to and try and explore that. I really do think that we'll see a decent amount of them here. So that's why I'm putting it 1 to beat. Power level, I'm not 100% sure. I said Free Kingdoms in general, they have a lot of great level 3 fighters that you can start, if not just from, a aggressive standpoint like Xehanara that we saw, but, just also from support. Like, you can start Jack Casey and start moving things up. Like, you can do things like that. Like, there's a bunch of possibilities to consider there. You can start a better range striker. Like, I put Free Kingdoms too, just because having High Priest Natural with Blind the Gods, Mass Blessing, and a bunch of healing with Spencer's and Brother Domini alone is also still really good. But then they can get greatly improved with Free Kingdoms. Also, like Ursula Yeskar has 3 strikes, the lycanthrope that gets more attack. Like, you can build a very similar deck that I did with Samope. So that's why I'm just noting it there. It's probably not, I would say it's the weakest of the ones I have up here for sure. Let's go to, in a similar ilk, let's stick with that same class, talking Tavish Jape, who, very good as a mercenary, now has the ability to have other factions like Spencer and Brother Domini. And that's why he's on here. And you can see, again, like, just making sure for clarity, I have the faction banner right below here. So all these, you notice I have 4 out of 5 are going to Free Kingdoms. And it's mostly because Free Kingdoms, as a faction, have the best starting armies. They're most aggressive, I should say. But they are very focused on level 1s and level 2s. So that's why I have them on here a lot, which because, like, that's where my mind as a deck builder went. It's like, with a Warlord game, you want to get off to a strong start, and then you also want to have the ability to close. So you have strong abilities that usually weren't backed by stronger armies. Now kind of you patch that up and boom. Like, as long as your ability is aggressive, like Tavish Japes, you can do that. So giving everyone +3 on die rolls. So there's a reason why Adarmi's good, because it's giving all those level 1s a good stat boost. Now they get high. They don't get defense, which you could if you pass and then go evil. But, they get great offense. They get +3 on all attack rolls. And when you have multi-strikers from Free Kingdoms, it gets pretty nuts. Speaking of other Free Kingdoms, let's talk about Sir Rollin here. So Rollin had just won the last Ancients tournament. Congratulations again to Gabriel from Brazil for crushing it with Rollin. If anyone watched what he said on Discord, he thanked me and agreed that Dallin is the best Warlord, and he went out and proved it. So that shows you that winners watch this. So just by watching this, you are already a winner. Always remember that, guys. So anyway, Rollin, best dev, proven now. Either, even though I won one with him and Gabriel now won one, like, Rollin is good. And I'm putting him as the one to beat, not only just because he's obviously riding high now, but Free Kingdoms specifically is really, he's going to do well. You can do him as a merc. You can do him as an elf, because elves have really good range strikes. Mercs, you have Brine Fiends doing range strikes or Halo of Fire, like I mentioned before. But the specific reason that you're going to want to go Free Kingdoms for here is because Scarlet exists. Let me pull up Scarlet real quick for you guys. I think you've all should be well aware, but just in case, for clarity, I will show Scarlet. React once per turn after an adjacent character performs a range strike. Perform a +3 range strike. And she has marksmanship built in with, +8 total with her skill. So you start 2 Scarlet. Sir Rollin, now, going back. Oop, that didn't work. That worked. Going back to Sir Rollin, gives your Free Kingdoms the ability to have spend order perform a range strike with a bonus equal to the character's level. So you start 2 Scarlets. I'm going to do a +2 range strike with Scarlet number 1. Go ahead, shoot, whatever. react with that Scarlet, react with that Scarlet. So first action of the game, not playing any cards from your hand and just spending a level 2, you've now performed 3 range strikes at 2/3/3 minimum with marksmanship capabilities to do extra wounds or add fight or go an extra rank and snipe that. There's a reason that Makusag Cavalry got reserved and not able to start and play with the High Priest Nasseril. Well, Sir Rollin basically enables that same strategy, and you can just go nuts with it. So that alone is there. Now, as Free Kingdoms, I would say the devs are more sturdier in their ranks, so he is a little bit more frail. But what you can do with Sir Rollin is take the Free Kingdoms Trevor Magson build that the Germans did for Epic. Take a look back at any of the past streams there. You can see I played like 3 of them. But take that same character basis and that same strategy. Obviously, you lose that little level 1 who's broken there. But, so you don't do Lear Militias, but like you take that character base, take Gabriel's or my Sir Rollin deck, and then boom, you get a lovely little combination there, and it turns into a powerful deck, which I can actually show once I find where in God's name I put the untap slide. Here we go. We're going to show. This is the Rollin Turncoat deck that I threw together real quick. So Sir Rollin starting double Scarlet, as you can see. Brother D up in here with Jais and Fret. Jais and Fret, again, they don't want to do Spencer Brother here. Jais and Fret doing a range strike into rank 1 is fine, and if it dies, it just results in Rollin moving forward. And then Brother Domini is just the one of Brother Domini in here just to be good. But then after that, it really looks a lot like the same Rollin deck I ran. It runs the Diversion set. It runs Far Glass, Portable Hole for movement. Exhaustion is just generally good. Brace of archery there. Rapid shot assassin arrows for the win. So you just keep sniping around until they eventually just open themselves up to get assassin arrow rapid shot game. And then the character basis, they get, devs didn't really have many range strikers built in, but now ones like Gerard Huntsman and Peyton Latham are now on the table. Kalinar is going to be around, so as long as it's not stunned, it gives Free Kingdoms within 1 rank marksmanship +8. So you can marksmanship with Sir Rollin's abilities. You don't gain the +5 bonus because his ability says you can't gain bonuses, but you can gain additional wounds and go an extra rank. So watch out for that. You can always run Regent because everybody loves card draw and you can tell them to go away. But the sneaky part that I have going on here with Rollin is Salai, obviously for movement, but Gladys Tinron. I actually never said that last name. That last name of this freak. Nightfall React. After it enters play, if it is not the first turn, move a character forward 1 rank. You can move opposing characters forward 1 rank. So if someone's going to be like, I'm going to sit with a bodyguard in rank 3, and then they spend to cast a big spell or whatever, you play Gladys, you pull them up to rank 2, you move Rollin right up there to 1, and just splat. That's it. So this is very, very sneaky. And then you get to run Martin Exemplar, which is pretty cool. Giving, while he died, I wouldn't start him as an alternate star because you still want Scarlets, but put him out there. And while he's in the discard pile, you get +2 marksmanship to everybody. So that would be the cheekiness that I got going on there. So let's go back and let's take a look. So that's Rollin. I've fanboyed over him enough. Artec. Here we go. Let's talk about a non-free. You know what? I'll get to Artec last. Let's go to Fade Rowan. So Fade, we saw some success in Ancients too. It's a very solid Blitz Warlord. It can go just massive strikes, but the main thing it can do is run Wheel of Death and Mass Blessing in the same deck. So that just gets better with the Free Kingdoms because they have multi-striking abilities. You really get the mileage out of those bonuses because you're just generating more strikes. So that's why he's there. Artec, you can run Artec in any faction, and he's just Artec. There could be little bits of spice you go for any faction. I chose Dwarf just because Dwarves have a lot of multi-wounding, have a lot of healing, a lot of defensive abilities. So when you get insane offense backed by a great defense, it usually results in a winning formula. So Artek as a dwarf, I can see just being really disgusting. Because you don't really care about what, the starting army is. You can run them 6-man, you can run 9-man. You just drop Dre and Nexus. Sky is there, like Wall to kind of protect him. Door to the World for extra healing, Atone to heal him up too, so he doesn't get murdered in the face. Drop Denali and give him an extra level HP and even more attack. Why not? So there's a lot of crazy stuff you can do with Artek. And he is, I'd say, the probably the best fighter warlord. Front rank fighter anyway, especially because they're down in Ancients, but with moving to other factions, you can find a nice home for them. And so that would be the ones to beat. So let's move on to take a look at it from a different way. So I've already talking about how some kind of benefit from going to different factions. There are some that, you don't want to really choose them because their abilities really fit what the faction was. So you can't play these options, as I said. Like, you can't keep King Zod as a dwarf. So I just want to call that out, saying, like, here are some warlords that are typically considered very good, that just there's no reason that you'd want to switch their faction. So King Zod, you would think, okay, this is just a powerful ability in general. He's +1 level for equipping items, and he can search out for a level 5. Like, why are you saying that you can't do it? You can do it. But really where he fits best is with dwarves. Why? Because they have a lot of characters like Stockpile, Supply, Denali, that do things with items. No other real faction kind of has that, that faction theme. So same thing with Kaimi Fateseeker. Like, the dwarves are the item faction. They are blacksmiths. They know what they're doing. So moving them to another faction, that like you'd have to have a very specific reason. Like, so again, because of the possibilities being endless, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but you have to really be incentivized to change this out. And I really think that they just overall fit best as dwarves. So Kaimi and King Zod, just noting that, I would recommend staying away from them. Same thing with Talib. The redirection is a Deverinian theme. The tricksiness has always been there. Sure, you have the defend feat, and some factions do have characters with that. There are things like Rally to the Cause, which is a Free Kingdoms event, or really just classless event. You can just kind of do it there. Erg, you can do like that. Like, so there are some possibilities, but again, you won't get as much mileage out of Talib's innate ability to redirect, sacrifice, draw a card in other factions. So he really, again, he fits best as a Deverinian. So for this, if you're looking, I'd recommend you look elsewhere, because he's not going to really benefit from other factions. Kasaya Firehair, it's the same thing. This is the deck I ran for 4E. It's the double Scarlet start. You don't really get that here. There's no real synergy with going double Scarlet and having the aggressive, like, multi-strikes right away outside of Free Kingdom. So that's why it's like, this is an example where she would just do better elsewhere. You can make her a Nothrog and just use her ability to give them extra strikes, because then those extra strikes, along with the bonus, the charisma, and the multi-wounding that is a Nothrog theme, could be good. So that could be it. But again, I still think the Free Kingdom version is better. But just, again, the main point here is to kind of get everyone to see, like, when you take a look at a warlord, it's like you have to have a reason to change. There has to be something that draws you there. If you're just going to do the same strategy but just in a different faction, you should probably look elsewhere. Lady of Mercy, same thing. Her ability is all built on doing extra strikes because she has more criticals. You need more strikes to get more criticals. If you're going to a faction that doesn't have multi-striking, you really lose out. So just keep that in mind. You can do these and you can move them and you can do fine. So I'm not saying these are bad choices. Just you really, you leave the potential on the table when you pick one of these. Moving on then. So speaking of potential, if you don't really know what you want to do, let's see, beyond the characters, there are the items that are faction specific or have faction boosts. And that is correct. You can move that there, and that could be a reason. But usually, that's really about it. But even then, those items are all really thematic around that faction. So if your warlord is really focused on that theme that they were designed for, knowing that they were going to be built in this faction, they just, they might not lend themselves to other factions. But then there are some warlords that are designed to pretty much work in just about every faction. And that's what I kind of have up here. Reliable stays reliable. Like, you can pick any one of these warlords and these ones I'd say you can change to any number of factions. You can probably go like 4 to 5, well, there's 6 different options because you can't say that. So 4 to 6, let's say. Like, there might be like 1 or 2 factions that you really don't want to, and even then you could. So Sanguinel, who I caught some shit for not putting as a top 5 elf. Guys, I love Sanguinel. Like, anyone who knows my warlord history, I have done dirty things with this warlord. I've gravity fluxed everyone and their mother with this warlord. So either way, in Ancients, he's still reliable just because it's a wizard necromancer that can, draw 6 cards. And as long as you're not going heavy card draw, you can go anti-card draw with Amnesia and for secrets. This just really, Sanguinel could just really be built with any kind of aggressive supportive cast, because it's just a wizard that just has more resources to it. I chose Free Kingdoms just because to add into more blitz. You can do it as a dwarf if you want some more rank stability to support your wizard blitz. And also you can use the item synergy to supply, like Amulet of Force, put it in, shoot with it, discard it, do a +5, supply it back, get some more strikes. Like, you can do things like that, and it gets really cool. So Sanguinel's got a lot of good options. Joden Drac also can be good in just about anything. I did Dwarf just because, again, Joden Drac being level 6 means he can equip those big items that are worth it. So that is where you would put Zod. You can fit Joden Drac in just nicely. And it just really works out. He still goes pit fight. And now you can do pit fight with Drea Nexus or Sky and just pop. There they go. You don't need Gloves of Mercy and Bracers of Ogre Power equipped to Joden Drac in order to do that. You can just get that benefit from characters. Stonefist Gargoyle, we'll come to last. The Nemesis. Necromancer, that's just very good. And now this goes into that mercenary aspect that I told you guys about. So he used to just only have to focus on mercs. Well, now he can run elves and mercs, for example, if you really wanted to. Traditionally, I think we've seen Nemesis built around the monster theme, but you can build Nemesis around the undead theme. He's a necromancer. So going to elves seems like a very nice fit. You still get the benefits of Wheel of Death, putting undead characters in there. You can go Ardenalis and just kind of go nuts, but you have that extra aggression, and you still have this spell support that comes with the Nemesis that makes him reliable. And if he dies, you have a way. If he starts getting wounded, you have ways to kill the characters that you want to recur with the Elven Undead package, with Kargaz, Ardenalis, Skyrek, all that. So it's there. Fatraka, again, like, really, this is one that's kind of borderline in a sense, where Nothrog's having the extra rank really fit because they have that, that they pack that punch, they pack that multi-wounding. They have Lorik where they can go extra ranks, but with Fatraka here, I chose him as a merc. Just, you can now start Brine Fiends, and that Brine Fiends swing at that because they're, 2 HP level 1s. So Fatraka, again, any faction really. You can do Fatraka as a free kingdom. If someone swings at Spencer or a brother, you just give them an extra hit point. Now you're doing 2 strikes at that second rank. There are things like that. His ability is designed to, while it's restricted to just operate with Nothrogs, there's no other real restrictions to it. So he fits nicely into just sliding in. It's a good warlord that can really benefit from anything. Sure, you don't have the Bahia Bomb potential with that, but if you're just going to build a Fatraka that's just straight and reliable, Cleric Warlord with Mass Blessing, sees life, all that good jazz, he's a good option. And you can really, if there's some other faction that you just really love and you just need a Cleric Warlord, grab him. So last I want to kind of go to is Stonefist Gargoyle. He is reliable. Just, we've seen a lot of success with him. Anyone who's followed any of these ancient events, Gen Con last year, Gen Con coming up, guys, so get ready for that. He was in the final or the top 4, one or the other. I don't really remember. But He just gets to the front. He it's like a brick, and he's fueled by gargoyles. So he has like he's reliable as a gargoyle mainly because of Nilrim, but because of all the other factions having so much of their sub races, you can usually build around him. Like you can go Deveranians with Storm Wraiths and have a lot of the redirection, like Gen Nuri, where you protect your front rank fighter here and you redirect a strike. And if they don't happen to roll even, then okay, now you have an extra +6 strike for an additional wound because he's just going to fuel Stonefist Gargoyle's ability. You can do that with Lycanthropes as well, too. Lycanthropes you can start Lycanthropes. There's a whole Lycanthrope start. Undead, we've seen the recursion there. So there's a lot of options that Stonefist Gargoyle goes into. Stonefist is also one of the ones that is his subrace. So the cards... So there are cards that become available. Look at Richard Carter go. Thanks, buddy. I really appreciate throwing that one out too. So yes, he becomes a Storm Wraith. You can do things like Spirit's Wrath, which is nuts. Oh no, is that planner only? I don't remember. But yes, you make him a Lycanthrope Warlord. So any of the boosts to other Lycanthropes could be good. Making him a Storm Wraith, that could be good as well. Making him a monster. There's definitely tons there. You can turn him into a Merc and start Troggods and guarantee that you don't have to run movement. So now you open up deck building abilities. So there's a lot like that. So speaking of subraces, let's talk about that a little bit more. Leveraging subrace abilities. There are a lot of warlords that are built around the subraces of each of their factions. So just really to kind of get you thinking, if you're going to choose your warlord, you have to look at that subrace. Just because of that rule, it's something that you really need to kind of consider. Some of these warlords are, you would never play them. Some of them you're like, they're very military. Beastmaster Eldrick is an example. He is really good and does see play now, but now he gets even better. You get a whole lot of options here. So let's start with Beastmaster. So he normally would give Lycanthropes +2 attack, AC, and skill. Well, now if you make him a dwarf, you're doing that with gargoyles. And backed by the cleric that usually needs to have gargoyles enter play. The ability to stun really slows down the game, which gargoyles really like to do. And also they get Nilrim. So with Beastmaster's ability to boost that and 3 Nilrim in play, that army gets really scary and really hard to kill. Just if you draw 3 Nilrim in him, it's like everything's almost unhittable. So definitely look to kind of leverage those synergies. Speaking of gargoyles and synergies, Aridin the Stone, a very underappreciated dwarf warlord. Look at that. Him and Beastmaster just made a kind of trade there. So for those who don't know, Aridin the Stone, react once per turn after target gargoyle in your army is killed. Reveal the top 10 cards of your deck. You may put a revealed gargoyle of equal or lower level then the target into play ready in the target's former location in any army. Shuffle the remaining cards into your deck. So he basically just replaces any of your sub-factions. If you happen to stealth a monster into the opposing ranks and someone dies, you can just go find another monster, just plop them right back in. It's a really good ability. And he probably didn't see a lot of play because just dwarves and gargoyle-ness. Well, now, like a lot of people don't like playing dwarves. So that's why something like this would just not go played. He doesn't really have a sub-class, but he does have the sub-race. He is a gargoyle. So you make him a lycanthrope too. So there is a lot that you can do now that opens up. Like, so this formerly like really underappreciated warlord now becomes, like a real contender. Like that's a really good ability. So seeing someone do cool stuff with monsters with him, doing cool stuff, just with that, like you have a lot of that option. Then let's look at Rustic Umbala. So if you want to kind of, I think this is kind of like the more simpler version of like how to kind of leverage subrace abilities. Like you can look into a lot of the, what's this craziness that I can do? Like there might be a lycanthrope that has a certain ability that you don't know, but now like works really well with this warlord. And now I'm going to have a crazy combo. You could do that, or you can just go straight reliable, which is what Rustic is. It typically gives other undead characters plus 2 attack, is undead itself. For some reason, it's not bolded. Who knows about the templating? Can cast wizard spells 1 and 2, so that's good. Is a necromancer, so that's something. Once per turn, move another undead elf forward or backward in rank. So you can move this. So I have Nothrock. Make this, a siege warlord, where your siege get plus 2 attack and go melee strikes with siege, or you can just start moving them around, like order move a siege forward 1 rank, which could get really cool. And then you get the wizard spells that a lot of the Free Kingdom siege, the Nothrock siege masters have going. So Rustic, this example isn't like, oh my god, that's groundbreaking. It's just, that's simple. Like, you can look at that. You can make him a monster hunter, and now Brine Fiend's plus 2 attack is even scarier, 200% scarier, and can move backwards if it wants to. So there are things like that. Going to Savone, we have here. I have the original Savone. I like the original art better. Savone, this is one to watch. I think a lot of people are going to go into this, but your siege characters inflict an additional wound whenever they hit with a melee strike. If any opposing warlord is spent, range strikes performed by your siege characters may go an additional rank away. So I went with Elf here, making undead. So the undead package, I think you guys have seen this on the stream. If you're not, you can check it back. But the undead package basically revolves around starting Ardenalis and recurring it constantly with Skyrack, Kargaz, things like that. So you do a lot of melee strikes as he enters play and comes back. So now having those strikes do an additional wound is really good. You can have her also spend for Wheel of Death. She's not a necromancer, but she can do the spend order there. So let me go back to the Accord lands real quick. And we're going to get rid of Untap. What do you mean? Untap isn't around. I apparently have Untap around like 6 times. Uh-oh, I disappeared. I'm back, guys. So let's talk about Artie. Did I not spell Ardenalis wrong? Ard. There we go. He's got double A's. So Ardenalis is the fuel that is, or he might be the engine, I don't know, of the undead train. So after he enters the play, perform from your discard pile, perform a melee strike. He works well with cards like Skyrack. Ooh. Is it like Skirek or something like that? Why can I not find Skyrack? We are doing it live. Yeah, I can't find this. So you know what we're going to do? Here's another tutorial for you guys. Whenever you're having like, oh, there's a card. This is how you use the filters on the Accord lands. I know he is a necromancer. That is an elf, and he's level 2. So what is his name? There he is. Skyrack. Double. I just couldn't spell for the life of me. Elf necromancer. Before Skyrack dies, remove him from the game. Retrieve a lower level undead elf from your discard pile and put him into play. This action may be performed while stunned. So this is a way to have Ardenalis keep coming back. Ayaba Wave Runner is another example. Ayaba. Hey, I got that one right. Just putting a level 1. So these are things that Savone will get that now you just keep training that Ardenalis and just go. So that is something to be considered with Savone. You can do that. Again, monsters doing additional wounds. It's really good. Gargoyles doing additional wounds, okay. Lycanthropes doing extra wounds, that's good. Barret Yeskar in the front rank with the Savone Ashen Storm. Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's see. On Savone, back 1 FOF, the first times I ran this format, Tommy Pistol switched her to Mercenary and milked Amudasi's Inferno. Ooh, that's really good because Amudasi's Inferno is a monster. So monsters doing it, and can go an extra rank with range strikes. Wow, Carter, that's a good suggestion. I got to show that one, everybody. All right, let's do it. Ooh, this is really bad. There we go. Let's do the Amudasi train. Let's talk about that because that's really cool. Amudas. So starting with the candle, after a melee strike that missed candle, kill. This isn't even a react, so it can't be canceled. and search your deck for a card called Blaze. So you get the candle after somebody, after someone misses it with a strike, and then you get the Blaze. The Blaze, after it performs an attack, goes and gets the Inferno. So this is what Carter was talking about here. You get the Inferno. It's a level 4 wizard now in the front rank without having to do anything other than just making sure that your guys don't die and actually performs an attack. The Inferno have 2 strikes, 2 HP, really good skill, is a monster. So it has all those Savone abilities. After a melee strike or action targets Amadasi's Inferno, perform a +5 melee strike targeting that character. Oh, okay. It doesn't. I thought it was a range strike originally. But yeah, that's just extra wounding there. Just go, 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 go. It gets really disgusting. That's really cool. See, like, that's the thing about this format. Like, you discover these things. In order to fully know every single possibility, you need a week to yourself locked in a cabin. But you still need internet access to kind of dig through all these, unless you have your entire card collection like Rich Carter probably does. So let's go back to the slides. Oh, that is really ugly. That's better. Last but not least, we have Krusen Baskar. He is the monster that turns the monster warlord that, well, he's not a monster himself, but he turns any character into monsters. And you discard if you want to make opposing characters monsters, but if you just want to make any one of your characters monsters, you can. And then he has the ability to spend order and boost the attack of them. So you can make any character a gargoyle. That sounds really good. So him with Nilrim just seems like a natural fit. And he's a cleric. So again, clerics with gargoyles. A lot of gargoyles have that ability, have that little preference that you need a cleric to enter play. So that's why I see things like that with Krusen. You can make siege. You can make anything into a siege. So they can use some of those like siege things, like any of the movement abilities that are in there. Making everything a lycanthrope could be good when you have like the global abilities like Lost Pack or Yescarite Sentry or whatever, the level 1 that gives AC. Well, actually, he already makes everybody lycanthropes turn 2, so you probably don't even need lycanthrope. Making everybody a Storm Wraith, that could be something. If only your Warlord was Modred of Caracas, and then he had this ability, he might actually be playable. But yeah, so just kind of think about that. Just what you do with the sub-races. Moving on, let's go. We're doing pretty good on time. There are also abilities that are really underappreciated in their current faction, and you can now find a new home for them. So the examples I have here are that. Let's start with Khan Malik. He's in Free Kingdoms, one of the best factions. He is a beast. He's already Rich Carter already screaming at it. That's right. He is a good warlord. He usually gets overshadowed and underappreciated in the Free Kingdom faction because there's a lot of really good Free Kingdoms warlords. But the ability here that is specifically underappreciated is your other Free Kingdoms Rangers and Scouts have stealth +5. So you now have to you can now look what other factions have a whole bunch of Scouts and Rangers. Elves, for example, have Tyrius, and now you can he gains a bonus to his already innate stealth, and he can cancel on a 15+ for any strike. So that's essentially like a 2 HP character, as long as you don't roll the 25% miss. That gets really good. And with that bonus to stealth, like elves usually have ways of like sneaking into armies. You can actually get his discard ability. His discard ability is not that great. Where you can appreciate that, I'm not sure. But the underappreciated ability here is giving everybody stealth because of the stealth rules. Don't roll a 25% miss. Time to pass on that warlord. There you go, bud. You hit that every time. Speaking of a good warlord for you, Rolo, Raylar Magicbane. We saw this guy in action on my stream when I was playing my Ancients rounds. The Thing was running him. He is a very good warlord. The underappreciated aspect here is that last sentence. It's because everyone really just gravitates to, all right, he can play wizard spells. He's got magic resistance. He makes my 1s 20s good because I always roll bad. I roll 1s all the time. Everyone always forgets all of your other Free Kingdoms characters have +4 skill. That's usually nothing that Free Kingdoms care about because Ada exists. So I can just get that ability anywhere. Well, you can't run Ada in every faction. Or you can, and just won't. You're not all free kingdoms, so you won't get that bonus. So Rayler starting with this bonus skill, what can that be good in? So the thought that I had was Deverinians. For example, having +4 skill to all your characters, you have Alistair the Attentive, for example. Let's go to that. Alistair. While Alistair has 10 or greater skill, has +2 level for casting spells, and anytime he inflicts wounds with a spell, he inflicts an additional wound. So he already starts with 7 skill, plus Rayler's 4, that's 11. So immediately, for playing a level 3 character, he is a level 5 wizard that does 2 wounds with any spells. Where you're already going to have wizard spells in your deck, because Rayler can play level 1s and 2s. He can play fiery bolts with Alistair is that's a 3 wound shot. You die. It's really cool. Alistair can do this also with, Evoke Crisis, because he's already just doing innate wounds, and you're going to run Evoke Crisis in Rayler Magic Bane. On top of that, if you just want to go Spell Blitz, but even then, Rayler's starting helps out the starting armies. So Dilchan Keeper getting a bonus to skill is really good. He's usually a +10 to defend that would turn melee strikes that target adjacent characters into critical failure. So you start 3 of them. Rayler Magic Bane now makes those, a 6 up in order to pass. So if you get mileage out of characters like Dilchan Keeper, which was always considered a good starter, but sometimes you'd pass. If you're going to run Rayler, now this kind of opens up the option for him. Other option that, make Rayler a merc for Amadasi's Wrath. Yes, Amadasi's Wrath gains even higher skill, because normally it's just really his +3 skill. Now he's +7. So it's like starting off with a +7 strike that ignores any kind of plannerness. That's really good. And it gets around stealth. Yeah. So Amadasi's Wrath is also a very good target. So that Rayler skill boost is what I would recommend. I do have a deck built with it, but I might play it. So I'm not going to fully show you guys that one, but it's really cool. Let's see. How do I want to do this to get back to where we need to be? Voila. So a tier 2. Everyone kind of be like, really? A tier 2 is underappreciated? Well, she's chosen. So usually she's just underappreciated in general. But as I mentioned earlier, where you can move a chosen warlord into another faction, she now will benefit greatly from the sub races here. She basically can kill an undead to search for an undead. That's why I have her as an elf. So her ability to just that thrall ability to kind of kill and search your deck and conjure up like a Kargaz just by killing 2 Ardenalis, there's a lot you can do there. So that, while I won't say this ability is underappreciated. I think everybody knows that a tier 2's ability to kind of put them into your hand and search out, tutor these out really quick is really good. But now it gets better, because now she doesn't have the shackles that is the chosen faction and their smaller card pool. So could see a whole bunch of good stuff from her. Affinicus. This was kind of always, the underappreciated, a lot of times there were, I'm going to say a lot of times, there were points in Warlord history where they would give these off-class warlords to certain factions. So, there's not a lot of elf fighters except for Lord Winter, really. And I guess Jolin Yu. But Ophinicus is kind of like that front rank ranger. So, that was something that they usually didn't have. And the ability doesn't really fit with the Elven faction, where it has built-in medicine. Wounds can't be reduced, but after a wound is removed, you can discard a card to inflict a wound on a rank. Well, the dwarves love healing things, and so you can get so much more mileage out of Ophinicus and actually make up for that abysmal 14 AC that a front rank fighter and 3 HP have. So things like that, this ability could actually get going. OPH dwarf faction healing is great, but supply with Hawk Hatchet. Ooh, there you go. I love it. Now you're talking. So you can heal, and then also, so you got front rank, and you can still be in the front rank, and also now start chucking hatchets at the second rank. Now I'm liking it. Nowhere is safe. But Affinicus is, again, this ability just as an elf, it's why the hell would I run this? I'm an elf. I have Sanguinel. I have Belial. Like, are you kidding me? Like, why would I ever want to run anything like this? Well, you know, the dwarves will take in this orphan. The dwarves where, you know, just I will say that any design team really has not figured out how to actually design good dwarf warlords. As you can see, there's so many crap dwarf warlords because everyone hates that faction. But, you know, one day people will actually learn how to design good dwarves. Well, now, okay, you can get the well-designed warlords and put them into the faction that, you know, like if you're a dwarf loyalist and you love, you can actually just go get well-designed warlords now. I mean, obviously, dwarves, there are a lot of good ones that are at the very top, of course. But it's like, you know, there's a long dwarven cliff. You know, you go down into the mines. So let's go to the last one. Another underappreciated ability would be Vakaros. When he was designed, you kind of look at that ability and it's like, this guy really should be an elf. Why the hell is he an Nothrog? And it's now you can do that. Kill one of your characters in this rank. Perform a ranged strike with a bonus equal to the character's level. So he fits really well with Irolas. Just killing him, boom, boom, boom. See, I dig Vakaros Elf since I have a deck in the box that uses the Ambassador to play elves. Look at that. You don't even need the Ambassador anymore, Carter. So Vakaros is very good as an elf. He can also go into Chosen if you want. I know I ill-advise that, but he has the innate ability to kill one of his characters and then they can actually trigger the Thrall reacts off of that. You can do things like that, but Elf, I think, is definitely the strongest one. Again, that I really am going to like hark on that Undead package. It's really good. It's real, guys. So, again, this is just 5 examples. There's a lot more out there of underappreciated warlords that now get very good. So now, let's talk about some of these Dark Horse picks. The Dark Horseman picks. Very fitting that Kerberos is around. So I wanted to see, like, these are, obviously I had the ones to beat. We saw that first slide. These are the ones that I think are going to, well, some of these probably aren't going to surprise people. But these are my Dark Horse picks to actually, if people run them, will actually do very well. So of the Dark Horse picks, starting off with Adiakar. Talk about dwarf hate. Well, now you make him a mean green machine, and you give all Nothrog barbarians power attack plus 10 on top of already wounding characters. Like, he can actually now do things. It's really good. Because they did design dwarf barbarians really heavy in Southern Kingdoms and, you know, in the set that follow that, which I'm blanking on right now. But then after that, they were like, yeah, here's a dwarf barbarian every now and then. Well, Nothrog's always got barbarians, so having them go nuts. Adi, real deal. I think he's I'm going to pick him as a Dark Horse pick. Another one that's probably a little bit more obvious, these little Free Kingdoms archers here. Let's go with Laird John Hawthorne. I can actually show a Laird John deck list. Let me pull that up. I hopefully don't know if you guys are able to see everything else. So let's see. You haven't been able to see anything yet. And you still can't see anything. We are getting there, I promise. There we go. All right. So, Laird John Hawthorne going as a dev. Laird John is near and dear to my heart. When back many moons ago, many decades ago, I actually played him in real-life tournaments. Almost won Origins with him if I can just roll a 12. What do you know? I can't roll a 12. I had 3 chances that I missed. But other than that, Laird John really benefits from a lot of the Deveranian movement. They have Zaros the Mist, Cardinal Celis. That really is one of those faction themes. So he can find a new home here. So let's see. Again, after he moves to a different rank, perform plus 4 range strike. So you get cards like Acolyte Door and Gene Coordination just for general goodness, I would say. But then you go the typical package of here. One thing I will note is the thing with Laird John, if you're going to play him, the bow of choice is to give him extra wounding. You want to, if you're going to have a machine like this that does so many multi-strikes, you want someone who can do extra wounds and do even more bonus to that. So the 2 cards that let you do that are Frost Talon, which you can run 3 of, And since he's moving around all these ranks, he will eventually move back to 3 and be able to equip a level 8 bow that lets you do that and dragons. You can run Frost Talon and Ice Talon if you have the slots and run ×6 of this essentially same card that just had the name slightly changed because of 4E reprinting. You can do that and have a lot more consistency in your draw to kind of get that, because you can run so many extra copies of your card because the main steed of choice is Cloud Racer. Just discard a card, move, and Layer John gets a strike. But Bracer of Archery, I only have it as ×2. I was thinking about going to ×3 with it because you just want to get that and make those Layer John strikes at +8s. You have Exhaustion and Assassin's Arrows, just because, why not? Cloak of Many Things, just as you're discarding items, you can always just get them back, or you can keep retrieving your Farglass. Portable Hull, of course. So Portable Hull and Cloak of Many Things and Nodwick are just ways to discard steeds, switch out steeds, draw cards, and get more strikes. But then you can also do stuff like Revan and play him, put a character into play that's an HP to hold the ranks, and search for Cloud Racer and put it into your hand. So you're always moving. Zaros the Mist, as we already mentioned, is really good. Cardinal Celis, Caden to bounce a steed and get an extra one out of it. Squired Packard, if you're drawing even more steeds, but you don't really have Cloud Racer, let's say you just have a bunch of sewer worms, you can get an extra melee strike or just an extra movement out of it. So he got a lot of synergy here. And then you can run things like 2 Mother D, 2 Halo of Secrets, so you ensure that you draw these unique characters that you can put into play. So this is a very, not very finesse deck. It's a very straightforward, like boom, 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 boom. So you can do that with Layer John. So a deck like this, I would say, is a very strong Dark Horse candidate. Inheritance, that's a good option. Yeah, I'm not running Inheritance in here. So you can search out, even add a little bit more consistency into it. Okay, let's see. Let's get rid of that. Let's go back to slides. Captain Ducat. Normally, the ability here, the reason why I have it as a Dark Horse, I don't think this is a Dark Horse. Everyone knows Ducat's pretty good. But giving elves +3 on all their range strike rolls is very good. The elf range strike package goes in a lot of the lower level range strike package in particular, like Canel. You can start Jiggerel. I wouldn't start Jiggerel, but you can do that. Shalak Glynn gets really scary. Vivian having +2/+4s with marksmanship, that's just really gross. Dex Glynn coming in as a +8 for free. Things like that get really good. And then, of course, elves in general, being magical beings, usually have a lot of synergy with wizard spells and spells in general that Ducat gets and gets extra strikes out of. So that's the faction where it goes. He'd play a lot like Cathal Rowan would play, but just, now he's a lot more we too. So and by we, I mean he's not a me warlord. He can be a me warlord and just snipe dead by, but boosting all these elves is really cool. We are getting in over an hour in, and my throat is getting dry. Oh boy. You guys wanted me to do a 4-hour talk of this? You know how hard it is to talk basically to yourself for 4 hours straight? It's not easy. Non-stop too. Maybe I should hire somebody else to come in and banter with me. But then these would be like 6-hour podcasts. Anyway, Master Isoloth. That is very much a Dark Horse Warlord, I would say. But he's a Necromancer. Necromancers are very good in Ancients because of Wheel of Death, Severed of Flesh, Helm of the Undying, things like that. You know what I will say, quitter. There you go. Master Isoloth as a free kingdom. So I've already kind of mentioned, like with Nemesis, making him a freak could be really good, or making him an elf for the undead package, just to go Wheel of Death and boost up those abilities. Fade was the one who I said to make a free kingdom, benefiting from Wheel of Death. Master Isoloth can do that, and now make it even his built-in spend order to shrink the AC of the rank in front of it makes all those multi-striking even better. So I could see Master Isoloth, actually, I would say he's like a 4-2 warlord, maybe a 3-3, middle of the pack. He's not going to dominate, I don't think, but just to see this guy get played, I'm going to make him a Dark Horse pick. Last but not least, speaking of necromancers, Theckham Netherin. So Theckham, obviously he's a necromancer, but he also has that same flavor that would kind of draw people into playing like High Priest Nasseril. The ability to just chuck a level 4 or lower character from whatever faction you end up being into play in the same location after you kill somebody. There's a lot of cool options you can do here. I have him as a mercenary. You can do a undead package. Not undead, sorry. You can't do an undead package with this guy. You can do a monster package with him. And like throw the cutting north wind into an opposing rank and just murder people's face. I think I can show my Thecum deck. Let me show my Thecum deck. Other thing for a merc that you can do is Darson. That was the original idea, is just throw, just have him throw Darson right next to the opposing Warlord and have them shit their pants when they do 5 wounds. 5 wounds to Joden, 4 wounds to any other Warlord. Let me get my Thecum deck ready up here just so you all can see it. Okay, cool. I think I got this. You guys are seeing production live. Oh boy, where did this go? Hey, we got there. Let's see. Dwarf Black Sand Gargoyle. Yes, throwing Black Sand Gargoyles into the opposing ranks is good. Black Sand Gargoyle, unfortunately, doesn't live as long as it should anymore, but that's also a very good option. And really a pain in the ass. So this is the Thecum deck that I have. It's built around the monster theme. So I actually worked on this with Bobby Zabrowski. Shout out to him. Starting Mourn Jackals as the monster that, you start this in Will-O-Wisp just to kind of secure your ranks, but Mourn Jackals gives you that level 4 right away. You can go first action, just move up, and then they kill the Mourn Jackal. Now you have Thecum's ability. You have a actual good character without having to discard any cards into your discard pile. Like if you get Wheel of Death, you'll obviously have fuel for Thecum's ability, but if not, worst case scenario, now you can just throw a Jackals into the opposing rank, which could be really good and still very scary. Worst case scenario. Starting Brian Fiends, of course. Bascarin's Children. Almost all these characters are monsters, so this is essentially like running a mass blessing on top of Wheel of Death, which, okay, cool. I was like, where the hell is it? Wheel of Death, of course, just as I've been talking about it, showing everybody. Severed Flesh is still good. This is the spice I love. Homeboy is a necromancer. First action, like if you get first chance that you have when you have like a big, huge monster in there, fell below a level 2 character. Because you just punch like a 1 HP, like Acolyte Dora in the face. It's a melee strike that ignores Astral Netheril because it's a spell. Punch him in the face, remove him from the game, pop it a level 4 monster into the rank 2 right next to the Warlord. And like that's all she wrote. Because like you can drop, let's say, for example, Blitzer right next to him. And just like, that's it. Santa's coming for you, boy. Then we got, let's see, Spirit Wing is another monster. Just again, 3 strikes is really good. Innate ability to discard a card if they're not killing my monsters and I don't have them in the discard pile, or if I'm missing on Wheel of Death. Cutting North Wind, not unique. Still very good. Inflicts additional wound with melee strikes. Very good. Conjure Storm is the other spell other than Fellblow that I have in here, just because it can go more than 3 ranks away. So that's really what I was aiming for, to be able to throw a character as deep and as close to the Warlord as possible so that you can set up a monster murder. Ravika is really good, helps to discard those monsters. Thithisk, level 4, can be thrown into the opposing ranks, and when he's there, it's very, very scary. He's going to drop some Sutek goodness on top of it. Because he can his react to just protect himself, but also just he hits like a ton of bricks. He's very good. And worst case scenario, you can actually play him first action of the game because you have a level 4 starting with Mourn Jackal. I didn't go the level 5 character package that you normally get by starting Mourn Jackal. But I think he's the exception there, because if he gets into play, I'll definitely drop him down. And then other than that, it's just, Phantasm, because you have all these big scary monsters. You can just always just bring them in. Why not? And then this is the little spice I forgot to mention. Betray Fate. This card is almost unplayable usually, but Inflict a wound on target. After a character enters play, inflict a wound on target character. Choose an opposing character who draws a card. So if they're going to play that, everyone loves playing Jackals, right? Jackals of Morn. Even I'm running Jackals. Jackals have 1 HP. So if they put a Jackals into play, react with Betray Fate, you kill their Jackal, and then you can react with Thecum and throw somebody back into their fourth rank right near their Warlord. That was the thought there. And because you have Halo of Fire, you can do that to 2 HP characters as well. I just thought that was cool. Like, this is just a super fun deck. And I really like this aspect. You can check out, if you haven't already, on SagaTheStorm.com. Wes has built a Thecum deck out of Nothrox. Definitely take that. Look, first thing I did, though, when he posted that, I messaged him. It's like, bro, you got to remember Fellblow, man. Punch people in the face with Thecum's +5. It's really cool. So these are things like that. Rich Carter talking about add Urchat. Oh boy, there you go. I was trying to see what you can do with Urchat with the Bloody Mistress with Trogid, but the reacts don't work in terms of like, oh, can you like before initiative kill all these monsters? Trogid moves Urchants to the front and they spend react, and before they die, they just start DC 11ing the front ranks, but the timing doesn't work there. I was looking to try and make Urchat really good, but I could not make that work. Let's, speaking of which, let's show Urchat just for funsies. Go away, untapped. You are Dilchan Keeper. You are not Urchat. Urchat. This guy. Because he's got built-in stealth. That's really good. Before he dies, all the characters within 1 rank must make a fortitude save DC 11 or suffer a wound. Really cool. I wish we could make something work there, but alas, I did not have enough brain power to make that happen. So those are some Dark Horse picks. I really like all these ideas. I really like. They're like really cool. I will probably build all of them before the end, and that's a common problem that you're hearing from everybody on Discord. Everyone's got like 7 decks that they're picking from because building for this format is so much fun. Speaking of unfun, well, this could also be fun. I got my slide here of Warlords that I think are overrated, and also my challenge because they're terrible. So let's start with the overrated. There are certain Warlords that, again, this kind of fits into, you know, they prefer to stay in their own faction kind of deal. But there are some that, like Adarami, like that's one of the Adarami and Raziel are one of the first 2 Warlords that come to name whenever you're like, let's say you get somebody coming to play Warlord. They're like, yeah, I've dabbled in it. I haven't really played much. I'm kind of like a real competitive Magic player. I'm, super competitive. I like making PTQs and blah, 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 blah. All right, cool. You got one of those kind of people. Like, let's give them just a general good deck that you want to like hand them off to. Like just, you would hand them a Darmy and just turn level 1 sideways and kill people. Or Raziel, just, it's a control deck. You discard cards. You do range strikes with this, blah, 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 blah. I think those are overrated in this format, and I don't think they're really that viable. Adarami, you can kind of still always do that with like ambassadors. Like you can get around the free kingdom, there not being free kingdoms by starting a faction that has a free kingdoms ambassador and still being able to play them. You just don't start them. But that's just really dumb. You can, so what was it? Florian joked around doing Adarami as a dwarf for their level 1 packages. But that's the thing. Free Kingdoms are really built to have really good level 1s. So you can, like, moving her away to other factions is going to be very dangerous. Like, devs don't really have great level 1s. Dwarf level 1s is okay. Elf level 1s, sure. You can kind of do it with Undead, I guess. And then can't do Freaks. Mercs. Well, you can't even search out monsters, so that's going to be really, really a problem. Non-Frogs, okay, I guess. Yeah, get some rests in there. That can be really good. Chosen, yeah, no, you ain't going to do that. So, Adarami, again, I think it's overrated. Same with Raziel. The thing is, when Raziel first came out, he was a terrible Warlord. It wasn't until Isidra got printed that Raziel really got that extra boost that he needed to be very competitive. And so when that happens, and you take away Isidra, because he no longer can play an elf, he loses a lot of luster. I mean, like, because that's one of the things, like, oh man, I can do Raziel with like sturdy ranks in Dwarf. Yeah, you could probably. It's not going to be as good as the original one. You can do it as a Deveranian, sure, but do it as a dwarf. I think is best. You just have a bunch of items and then keep recurring those things. But I just think that these two really want to stay with their faction too, so I'd stay away from them. That's not really the case for the other three. So obviously with these analysis, I know you guys watch because you want to see which warlords I just shit all over. So one of these I've shat on constantly, which is Regin right there in the middle. I have constantly said that I think Regin is the worst warlord ever printed, and I will always stand by that. And I will shout out to, I want to say it was like 4 or 5 of you who when the second this format got announced, you all knew my hatred for Regin and were like, hey, I got a Regin idea for you. Like, you can do Regin as an elf, and when people discard their hand, get Isidras and go and like that. It's like, you guys, like, I appreciate that you understood that I hate this warlord and I think it's garbage. So I love the troll that you guys did, but for the love of God, do not play this warlord. I will repeat again for those who are maybe new and don't understand why I'm hating on this middle guy right here, Regin. Your hand size is reduced by 4. So you have a 1 card hand size. You draw 1 card a turn. But it's okay. I have a react. After the player to your left performs an order, draw a card if that player has 1 or more cards in your hand. Oh, so I can just constantly keep drawing cards as they're like playing their cards and they're doing attacks, and like I can get like 15 cards. Like, you're not going to get 15 cards. This is a solved puzzle. A good player is going to be like, okay, let me look at my 5 cards here. You have 1. All right, I'm going to play this Shadow Reaver into play. You react, you draw a card. You can do something, whatever. You can play one of your guys. That's fine. Next action, I discard my hand. So now it is your 2 cards that you drew versus my army and my Shadow Reaver. Let me throw my Shadow Reaver up to the front. He's got 3 HP. You better hope you have a bunch of range strikes in your starting army with multi-wounding to that. Your Warlord is the only character that can probably melee strike him. So if you want to bring that Warlord all the way out to the front, you go right ahead. And you got 1 strike, you better hit. You got to do that 3 times to kill that Shadow Reaver. And you just rinse and repeat that constantly. So you can just out-decision. Like, the thing with Regin is it puts the decision on the opponent of when to do that. The thing is, it's like, it's a no-brainer decision. Like, play your best card and then get rid of the rest. Don't waste doing stupid actions. Or even worse for Regin, first action Staff of Secrets. Good luck with that react. First action Amnesia. Or Natural, High Priest Natural. Start Regin in play. Regin going on Regent. Or Regent going on Regin. That's like, okay, well, now you can't draw cards. What do? You just lose. So, no. Don't do it unless you, again, I dare you. Is really if you want to try and prove me wrong. But just don't do that. So, Tactician Mudfleck. Everybody's like, I like Mudfleck. So this is really here just because, really, actually, Tactician Mudfleck mostly is here just to shit on Woodrow, who told me that Tactician Mudfleck is just a generally good warlord, which I think is absolutely wrong and false. There's nothing exciting about this card. It's like, but you can kill your characters after they're hit with a melee strike. It's like, have you all not realized that Ancients, like, range strikes are really good? Most of the competitive decks do range strikes. They don't really do melee strikes. Sure, if you're going to go against a Darmy that's going to keep going Spencer on you. But even then, those decks run Glenn the Blaze and a bunch of wizard spells. So, okay, I will kill your entire frail army first that you built around to hope die. And just murder, get rid of them first without your little react. And now you're just a, regular rogue scout. Good luck doing anything. So people are saying, like, you can do this with elves, and so you get a Matria Tanzix check with so you get 2 DC 13s. It's like, okay, you're going to kill a guy twice? It's usually a level 1 that's going to hit that. Like, the opponent can make the decisions to play around this. It's like, I really don't think this ability is that strong. Ooh, here we go. Now we got people. You know what? We'll move to the next one. So Dallin Stormlost. So a lot of people are saying, like, oh, he's good. He's good. Like, he should be this. He should be this faction or whatever. So Dallin Stormlost is a cursed warlord. I've said this before. He's cursed. Everything on this card seems really good. Great 6'4" for a fighter cleric. That's pretty good. Sure, he's level 4. I wish he was level 5, but then he'd be just insanely broken if he was 5. 16 AC is good. 6 skill, okay, you need to get a little bit better than that, but 3 HP, fine. He's a seer with magic resistance at a good bonus. Okay, I like that. You discard a card to heal, and then you are reverse Belial, where you once per turn choose an opposing player who must shuffle his or her hand into his deck and draw 4. So there's a lot going on in this. But for some reason, when people play Dallin, they end up on the bottom of the ranking. Like, I've heard whispers of people like winning tournaments with Dallin. Like, everybody has that story about that one cowboy that came to town and was a hot shot and took this legendary Dallin Stormlost deck to the final. I hear a lot about like that with Regin too. Those are all made up stories. Usually they come from the Germans. You know, I think they just like messing with me. That's what I'm assuming. They definitely love messing with me, which is all in good fun. But yeah, Dallin Stormlost, like, I just want to see him do good. So that's why I'm putting him on the don't try it, I dare you. Because again, it's the curse. If you can undo the curse, good on you. But I don't think you can. So let's see. I ought to have tried Dallin and open to shuffle away Slaughter. that would be good. And then you get rid of the Slaughter option, but then how do you win? Oh, and that is the end of my slides. Okay, so that is what I have for really kind of like the I would say the breakdown here. The main takeaway that I would say is just, again, like, there are so many possibilities that we just kind of came up with. Like, you know, you can guys really can do anything. Even these bad warlords, you can probably do something with, except for Regin because he's terrible. But like the possibilities are endless. And the only thing that I hope that you guys took away from this analysis was that, you know, you can really just pick any warlord that you, even the ones that were less good, like, you can find usually a good way to kind of go about it, unless it's like, no, Regin. But this was going to reward your creativity, and this is the time to be creative. This is a very fun format, guys. It's not like the open plus Medusan Lord one, which I highly advised you guys to not play. This one I highly encourage you to play, because we're going to see some fun stuff, and I'm really excited about it. Happy to, you know, continue to build. I've got about 5 decks built, but I need to build some more. But I got some options here, and like, even then, it's like, it's going to be like a last second decision of what I play. But with that, I do want to do, let's see, just taking a look at my agenda here. And since I've gone through this pretty quickly, at an hour and a half, we're going to do a little bit of a fun exercise. Let's just kind of really send that point home that there's almost a lot of things are possible. I have, one sec. I will fix this. I will be right there. I have a list of all the warlords in an Excel sheet, and they're all numbered. We're going to do a random number generator, and we're going to do a random faction number roll off, and we're gonna just theory craft some possibilities here. So I think this can be like a little fun exercise for us to kind of just figure out. Just, again, let's just pick a random warlord out, and then, like, you know, let's do, you know, let's just, like, you know, shoot off the hip. Let's see what's going to go on. Let's see. The word I'm looking for is improv comedy, and this will be comedy for sure. So let me pull up my random number generator. Ooh, you guys see it coming in the background. Let me hide that Excel sheet for now. The very sophisticated Google random number generator. So numbers 1 through 237. So let's see, which warlord are we picking? Number 199. Oh boy. Who's that going to be? Let's see. 199 is Talib al-Sur. So one of the ones I said wants to stay in their faction. Okay. So we got Talib. Let's see what we can do for faction-wise. So this is going to be 1 through 7. Well, actually, it's not. We're going to ignore devs, right? Yeah, so we're going to do 1 through 6. So it's Dev, Dwarf, Elf, Chosen. Dev, Dwarf, Elf, Freak, Merc, Throg. Chosen is last. I don't care C should go at the top. No. Chosen on the bottom. Let's see. Generate. Number 1. So we're going to make a Dwarven Talib deck. Oh, boy. So let's theory craft that bad boy. Just for everybody to... No, Talib. Alseer. Here we go. Remember this guy? Looks like Patrick Mahomes from the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's add Talib to the deck, and then we have to figure out, okay, so let's look at this. Well, how would you approach building him as a dwarf? So once per turn, after an opposing character targets one of your Deverinians with a melee striker action, redirect the striker action to another legal target. After one of your Deverinians performs an action that redirected a melee strike or action, kill one of your Deverinians, draw a card. So he's a rogue, so the first thing would be like, all right, well, what makes trespass successful, or what makes an attach successful? You can kind of build around that aspect. So you could do it where Talib goes hunting in. You can build Talib with the Nightmaster set, kind of like how I did with Kaimi, and then have him just using this ability to draw a card and filter out. And then that way, if you have other items, because dwarves have items, the dwarf has item synergy, so you can do things like that with stockpile. So Talib can do things like that. Talib can go hunting after people. But then, let's see, what else we got? Let's play with the filters here. So let's go Ancient, Dwarf. And then let's say we can search by feats again, right? How many of them, which ones have defend? Let's see. So, there's a lot of decent options to kind of defend around here. If possible, Douglas must always select Angus Hammer. Oh my God, I love it. Bulwark. Some really cool art right there. Good old Grabsky. Grabsky, please show up so people can buy more art from you. Bulwark is good. Brawl's got some defend. Dury, Earthwalker, Doric. He can't do it duty. The hero. He's got some. So you can play a bunch of good defend characters and then still get that redirect going. Justice has got defend. You can start Magnite Gargoyles. They don't need the cleric in there, but you can have the starting clerics. So you can do that with Nevin. Yeah, so Martyr. There we go. Carl Frank art right there. So this is kind of how you would approach building it. Leverage the item aspect, leverage a lot of the defense. So these are kind of the things that you kind of would have to kind of theory craft and then kind of figure out, okay, what is the best kind of strategy there? And then you can just use his general redirect if you want to just redirect. It could be something with dwarves that when they die, they do something. Because he does kill characters to do that. So let's see how we would fix that. Let me get rid of defend text after dies. What? Oh, because red dies. After another character in this rank dies. So there's some cool stuff right there. You can do war, and then somebody else, and then or war, martyr, war. Redirect. Use Talib's react to redirect to martyr. Try to pass the check. If not, sacrifice with Talib to draw a card and then go war. I don't know. These are the kind of possibilities that you think of. So that would be Talib. I would say, yeah, that's Talib Dwarf. This is kind of cool just thinking about these. I'm going to do a few of these. Let's do some more random number generators, guys. Alrighty. So we're going to go back to 237. So we did Talib Dwarf. We're going to go to 133 now, who is Master Assassin Sayer. There we go. A new one. Another rogue, though. All right. So let's see. Let's do random number generator 1 through 6. So we are doing Sayer as 4. Dev, Dwarf, Freak, Merc. So Seer as a mercenary. That's going to be interesting. All right, let's pull up Sayer. Master Assassin Sayer. We don't have the artwork, guys. Come on, Accord Lands. Get on that. During the draw phase, you have +1 hand size if you kept any cards when discarding. React once per turn. After Sayer targets a ready character with a melee strike, the target must succeed with a fear save D16 or become spent. has built-in stealth, is a rogue assassin. So this plays a lot like, what's her face? Tasia, whatever her name is. So that's kind of a bad one though. Not like bad in actual, like, it's not good, but like there's already kind of an archetype here. Tasia. Yeah. So like, it's pretty much the same thing. So that would be kind of a bad example where this random roll-off is. Sayer would benefit from the mercenary army though, and there's a lot of like Zara. You can do things like that, and then you can go with the poison route. So Monsieur Diplomacy and things like that as you threaten into the ranks and go crazy there. But it would essentially be a lot like this Tasia deck that is already kind of a known commodity. So that's kind of a rough one. Let me re-roll the... make him Sayer as a chosen? Oh, good God, that's even worse. You couldn't really go stealth because those characters are going to die, and his ability doesn't really kill any characters with his action. Yeah, so don't go chosen. There we go, Nothrock. Nothrock Assassin? Those already exist with a Grilt. What benefit would you get there? Yeah, it's tough. Sayer might be one of those ones that, you kind of want to stick to the same faction. Maybe Deveranian. That could be cool. Okay, let's go for one more option. Let's throw this out here. Generate 38. 38. Another elf assassin, Carebraid Netherin? Oh, come on. This thing is rigged. If Carebraid's really good. Let's see. Carebraid as a dev dwarf, Carebraid as a freak? Oh, that's easy. Like, equal to, like, you're just discarding Free Kingdoms into your discard pile, like discarding Court and Lies and just making them do DC checks equal to your lycanthropes in play, or a 14+1 for each lycanthrope in play. Yeah, Carebraid as a freak is really good. He's still got a frail army, but they hit even harder. So they have ways of kind of getting your characters up. But then you can run stuff like Salai and Gladys to either stun or push them up after spending them with a lot of his assassin abilities. Yeah, that's really good. Carebraid's a freak. I like it. I really, 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 really like it. This is fun. Anyone got any requests? Anyone in chat throw out an idea, like a warlord that they want to see? We can do that too. Let's do one more though. But then let me take some requests too. 57. 57 is Duchess Bremen. Oh, that's not the good Bremen though. That's the fighter. So, and then here's the one we can touch upon. Duchess Bremen is the Guildmaster. So that's like Belial, Black Tom, Duchess Bremen, Anton Kyle Dragon. They are the Guildmasters. They are based around classes, so they already blur the faction lines. Them as turncoats, the really only benefit that you get is starting a different faction. And it's going to be really hard to find something to leverage there. So I would not encourage that. 229. Oh, this is going towards the back. Let's see. Excel sheet 229. Winter Eternal. Ooh, this could be really good. So this is the newer Winter, not the older Winter. As a dwarf, freak again. So Winter Eternal as a freak. Let's see. Let's go to Winter Eternal. Winter, Eternal. That's very dramatic. Planner, he's an overlord. Look at that. Undead. So he would become a lycanthrope. So as a free kingdom and a lycanthrope, you can start Warren Brood. You can start Warren Brood so you have the movement built into your deck to just put him in the front rank. You can start Spencer Domity to just break ranks, kill two characters, someone falls forward, up goes Winter to the front. Or just place a Lyesgar, push someone back, fix illegal ranks, go, 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 go. So that's how you can go with Free Kingdoms, making him a lycanthrope. And then let's see. Let's make Winter Eternal. Let's see, text where they mention lycanthrope. Yeskar's Rage. Oh, there we go. Let me go to Yeskar's Rage real quick. So like having Winter Eternal equip this and keep getting bonuses with all the other lycanthropes getting big. Like I guess that's pretty good. That's more so we and it's slower than Winter could be going fast. But let's see. He's a lycanthrope. He can put on the forms. Oh, that's really good. He could put on stupid forms if you really want to put items on him. Oh, wait, hold on. Primal Rage. He finally gets extra wounding. There you go. So, Winter Eternal with Primal Rage. There you go. I like it. Because he's now a lycanthrope. Where did you go, Winter? Winter Eternal. Yeah, once per turn, after he suffers a wound ready, if the wounds were inflicted by an opposing character's turn, may perform while stunned. But if you have Primal Rage, now you get that extra strike because you're a lycanthrope. You get +5, and you do an additional wound. The synergy's there. But are forms better than real items? No, definitely not. But it's just still fun. Oh, man. I got real excited when I saw like Primal Rage can work. Lycanthrope. Let's keep searching. Ancients, just in case. I don't think anything's banned. Assault on Morn. After a character hits an opposing character with a melee strike, attach Assault on Morn while one or more copies. You can start moving them forward or backwards because you can do that. Lycanthropes have an additional melee attack with Banyan. Bascarin's Blessing to give him a feat of choice at +10. Chameleon form. Dune Wolves. Elephant form. This guy does things. Hold monster. Oh man, you can stun him now. Yeah, you could. He was undead anyway. Heart of the Beast to get all those forms on him. Loot if you kill him. You don't just win the game, you search for an item. Rabid Bite. Before inflicting wounds on a melee strike, the target must proceed with a Fortitude DC 15 or take an extra wound, or attach this card to a lycanthrope form. You can play it once per turn. That's silly. Wild Shape. Druid only, so I don't think so. But there's a lot of Free Kingdoms Druids that can play this. It's just about, doing forms. Permanently gain the lycanthrope trait. Yeah. And this is that the Sentry. The lycanthrope that you could start if you want to do lycanthrope as a something. Winter Eternal as a lycanthrope is pretty cool. I like that. All right, let's see. Brim Frostbeard Merc Dragon Rancher. Ooh, that's a good one. There we go. I like that. Let's pull that up. Good old dwarves, right? Brim. Ah, crap. His name ain't Brim, is it? Or do I have weird? Frostbeard. Let's look at that. Frostbeard. Brom. That's what it is. It's not Brim. Autocorrect. Got you, Captain. Brom Frostbeard. Here we go. While you control a dragon, his DC's gain +3. Once per turn after he casts a water spell, ready target lower level non-stunned dwarf, so non-stunned merc. Once per turn after he casts an earth spell until the end of the turn, target merc gains 3 attack AC. Yeah, you can definitely do Dragon Ranch with him. So now if we're going to Dragon Ranch and get the dragons out, his actions now get +3 DC saves. So what can we do with that? You can just, as a merc, just start a Dragonkin and then have hit. So you have your base 3 DC saves, and then you just whirlwind. So it's DC 18 or stun right off the bat, first action. Elemental Madness comes to mind. Sudden Gale. Oh, he's not a druid. Elemental Madness. All opposing spent characters must succeed with a magic save DC 13, 18 of opposite alignment of the caster, or become stunned. Each one who is already stunned suffers a wound and remains stunned the next one. So, you can just start a dragon, do typical like merc cleric things, and then elemental madness them in the face. Oh, that's cool. Let's see. How do we search? Let's go cleric. Text has DC on it. Let's say action. is the card type. I'm sure there might be some cool items we can do too. But let's see if we can make it an action. Just to be safe. Aurora Flames, Blind, Call to War, Cause Fear, Cause Wounds, Command Horror, Debilitating Venom, no, Decompose, yikes. Divine Intervention, makes it so he can go in the front rank, that's pretty cool. Fire Seeds, get him up on the front rank and start fire seeding people. Forest Hunger, you probably just want to do that as a cleric anyway. Grasp of Vengeance, target a number of characters within one rank, yeah, unless you're going to the front. Haunted Forest, remove up to 3 characters in the discard pile from the game, target the same number of characters in an opposing first rank who must make a DC check or be unable to attack the rest of the turn. That's pretty cool. You can do that too, just to kind of slow the game down as you get Dragon Ranching going. Invoke Entropy, just to hit items. Iron Hall's Rise. He's not a druid. Can't do, and he's not a dwarf anymore, so it doesn't matter. Kiss of the Mummy. It's also a level 3 cleric action. Merciless Strike, No Escape, Paralysis Ward. That becomes DC 23. Precognition. He's not a seer. Reflect. I guess that's good. So it goes from DC 18 plus his skill, which is like 7 or 8. So DC 26 Reflect. That seems very gross. Shared Fate. Summon Avalanche. Southern Gale, yeah, it's druids play this without spending. Oh, okay, so he could do that. Everyone, 3 characters from the rank make a DC 19 or move back a rank. So there's some cool stuff you can do that. With Dragon Ranch, like which dragons would you want? You make them a merc. You can really just drop really any dragon, I would say. But starting a dragon, like a Dragonkin, Minor Dragonkin in rank 2, and then using that to boost DCs, that would be a cool way to go about it. All right, guys, let's see. I think I got time for one more. So I'm gonna roll this off. Let's see what we got. Random number generator. One last time, guys. Run it fast with Venom Hiss. Yep, you can do that too. 56. Let's see. 56 is, speaking of Dragon Ranching, Drasic Berenge. So let's see. Pull him up. Let me do random number generator first. So Drasic as Chosen. I hate Chosen. Drasic as a dev or a Chosen. Okay, well, let's just go to Drasic. That's going to be tough. I don't know if we're going to be able to do anything with this. Drasic. This is a 4E Warlord. Is actually very good. Spend react before you put a dragon into play. Reduce the dragon entering rank by 1. Once per turn, target an opposing character within 2 ranks must make a DC 15 or move back and become spent. So he likes to sit in rank 2, throwing that order and then spend react while you're building back ranks. Dragon Ranching, again, like we see, you kind of want to go Merc, but if we're going to go Chosen, that's going to be tough. Chosen don't really have any kind of Dragon Ranching ability, so that would be a bust here. So that's one that just probably doesn't fit very well. But with the Dragon Ranching, as you're putting them into play, you can kind of put those huge demons like 4s into play, I guess. But let's see, as a dev, so then you can get like Tempest Royal out really quick. That would be my guess there. Devs could hold ranks pretty good, but let's go Tempest Royal. Where are you? One of the coolest arts. Oh man, that is like ultimate fantasy right here. This guy doesn't see much play, but man, he's got some badass art. I love this. Target up to 5 characters within 1 rank. Each must succeed with a magic save DC 16 or suffer a wound and become spent. Yeah, I mean, use Drasic to get him in a 6. That's pretty good. But just typical Dragon Ranching. Dev's got a lot of good level 5 characters that let you kind of put, like, get Morak. You'll just sit out there and then just once per turn, as long as you remember the react, like what I don't, you're able to kind of just stop that. So he benefits from there. Sir Uwain, you're right. That's true. It's like basically, going any Dragon Rancher with like that or Nemesis or War Wagon. You can also still have I'm going to get that word out. War Wagon. So yeah, that's, Drasic is kind of like Dragon Ranching is kind of straightforward. So that's why kind of like when we look at Braum doing Dragon Ranching, like it's cool, but like you really want to build around that DC. So it's like, is there a way I can start a dragon? And then like, that's how you kind of go with it. Alrighty, guys. I think that's going to wrap up. So I would like to thank you all for tuning in. This was a lot of fun. I wrapped this one up in a reasonable time, which I'm shocked. But again, main takeaway from this, as you just saw from this exercise, there's so many possibilities. Like it's hard to kind of just look at all this. Find one idea that you think could be really abusive and then just kind of go with it. But most importantly, guys, have fun with this one. It's going to be a lot of fun. Like, I'm just more excited to see what everybody comes up with. The excitement that is in Discord with everybody talking about the decks that they've gone with has just been really great to see. So it's really super cool. And I really think this will be just a lot of fun. So, if you guys have any questions, any comments on this video, always shoot me a message. I'm always happy to talk Warlord with anyone. Just, bounce some ideas off of it. We can do that. Someone's yelling Skyrax. Yes, Skyrax is good. He makes, that good. See what we said about leveraging sub races. Skyrax is an option there. So we will note that as we were walking out the door. It's like, oh, by the way, Skyrax exists. +2 on all rolls. But yeah, feel free to shoot me a message with any ideas, any criticism, anything you guys want to see for any more of these kind of analysis, like any of these kind of questions, like always shoot my way. Like I'm always willing to talk Warlord. I really do have a lot of fun doing these. It does get to be like a pain in the ass when something's like this big and I have to find creative ways on how to do it. But I think we got there. So I think this was a lot of fun. Before we go, I just want to, obviously, I will be streaming all my matches for Turncoat once I figure out what I'm playing. But with that, we will continue to give away sneak attack boosters. So always check back for those. We give away one to my opponent and one to a viewer. So we'll continue to do that. But I don't know if anyone has really noticed the artwork behind me, but I can use that to announce some other fun stuff that we're going to be doing. Let me peek. What is that weird artwork? Hold on. So everybody remembers the art show, huh? That little art show that we did. Remember how you can commission artwork? I commissioned this from Lynn Hunter, and I'm blocking my mic as I try and get this into the camera. So what in God's name is this thing? Well, this is me as a Nothrog at the Bayonne Comic Center where I worked. So basically, I don't know if anyone's ever seen if you're in chat and you're a sub, you have the option to pick the exhausted emoticon. That is a card that there is a picture of a young me, really exhausted and sweating at the comic book store, sitting there staring at the fish who was taking the photo, just like, what the hell are you doing to me now? Like, I have Warlord cards in my hand and everything like that, but I just look like a sweaty, angry mess. And he took that and photoshopped it into a card called Exhausted, just to play on the word exhaustion. So we all had a lot of fun with that. They even made fake cards of that back in the early aughts when we did that. So it was like 2005-ish or whatever. So those are floating around in my Warlord collection many moons later. As I moved into my apartment with my wife and I'm pulling out my Warlord collection, she finds the random card with my face on it and constantly laughs, and then makes sure that card lives on her refrigerator for many years too. So we always see it. So we always had fun with that card. So I was like, let me commission Lynn Hunter to actually make an official version of that. But I was like, do me as a Nothrog, because that'd be really cool. So now we have printed promos of Exhausted with this card art on there. I will post this card later once I get it watermarked, so you all can't just steal it and then make remarks of it and put it on eBay. Yeah, we'll be giving away some of these as well to any of our viewers. Oh God, as it just flies everywhere. But I'm really excited about this. I got this art, obviously for selfish reasons, and it's all personal reasons, but to support the community. But I was like, what's something fun I can do with this for the stream? And it's like getting that art. I'm going to use it on my Twitch channel as well. But I'll also make it so you guys get these fun alt art promos that we can all laugh at. And it's exhausted. So just like Frost Talon and Ice Talon, you can run 3 exhausted and 3 exhaustion and just break the game. So don't worry, AEG, you don't have to sue me. I'm not using your card back. I'm using my card back. So either way, I'll be giving those away on stream, mailing them out to you guys. They're usually easy to mail out because, again, they are fake cards. So you don't have to worry about those. They're just sentimental value. But yeah, so I look forward to giving these away on stream for you guys as we play. So with that, I will sign off. Again, thank you all for watching. Any questions, shoot it my way, but take it easy, and we will see you later. Goodbye, everyone. Oh, that's the wrong one. Look at that.